First, I just want to tell you I'm here on behalf of the overseers, and we are just so thankful and we are joyful for all that you all have done this past year and continue to do year after year, the support financially, with your resources, with your voices, with your legs, your feet, your backs, volunteering, whatever it may be. We're a small body, but we're very strong, and we have a lot to be thankful for. These songs that we sang, the first song, Joy to the World, and then Joyful, 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 is just, I was standing there and I was just looking around at the amount of people that are here, and we are very joyful. You know, it's amazing that we're able to do this in the midst of a pandemic and what's going on in our area, in our country, in the world. But yet, we're here, and we're thankful for that. And we're also thankful for the technology we have to be able to come to you right now, whether we're in your living room or your exercise bike or wherever, if you're on a walk, wherever you may be, we're coming to you and we're able to do that. So that doesn't happen by accident. It's a lot of work. So I want to thank Ed and especially Taylor and all the volunteers and the people that are on staff that are doing this to make this happen every week, whether it's in here or it's online. They do it a great deal of work and at a great cost, even personally, just to subject themselves to, being around a lot of people. So thank you for that, Ed. This morning, just kind of give you a little bit of an update where we are financially. We are about every year, as I've said before, every year is a little bit different, but one thing that stays the same is kind of our giving patterns. And we typically raise about 2/3 of our budget up until Thanksgiving, and then we usually collect the last third of our budget at the end of the year. And this year is no different. We've thankfully collected about 2/3, a little more than our budget, up to Thanksgiving. And at this point, to reach our budget, it's about $100,000 that we have to raise before the end of the year, which sounds like a tall order, but God moves through his people and God's in control, and we trust that whatever he sees fit to do, that's what he wants to have happen. So we completely operate out of faith. We never spend beyond what God entrusts us with, and we want to be good stewards of that. So this year, we just want to make you aware of where we are, to let you know that if you have any year-end giving plans, that we could certainly use the resources, and our expenses have gone up. You would think by not meeting for those months that maybe our expenses have gone down, but being able to do online and do a better presentation online and other things like that have kind of doing two services almost, one that's online every week and one that's in person. So our expenses have stayed about the same, ironically. So we want to go and move forward and try to meet our budget, and we've done that just about every single year that we've been here. I've told you some stories. Some of you are probably tired of maybe hearing them, but if you haven't, I see some new faces, but just some great things. That our first year when we started ChurchOne, we got the overseers, we got together and kind of like, we're going to commit to 6 months of this and see how it goes, and we'll see what happens in 6 months. Within the first 6 months, we had a family who came up to me. It was a friend of mine, and said, what's your biggest hurdle right now? And I said, well, finances is always a thing. We're not sure, what it's going to look like, or we're going to be able to be a going concern or not. And he goes, well, how would it be if I paid your rent for the first year? And that knocked me off my feet. And that's just how God's provided for us. He's done that in amazing ways. So in the first year, somebody came in and wrote a check to pay our rent, which would be great to have now, but we've grown and we have more space, but it was $36,000 a year. Now it's about $100,000, or a little less than that, maybe $90,000 a year. But that God would use that person to ask that question at that moment, at that time. And we've had multiple stories like that. And another story I want to tell you today is about, I guess the picture's up here. So we've not been doing collections because we're not supposed to pass baskets or anything. So we've had baskets in the back. And a lot of you have been giving online, which has been phenomenal, and that's probably the easiest way to do it. But giving is an act of worship, and giving is a discipline, just like praying, a quiet time in worship, in singing. It's an act of worship to give back to God. It is all we have is His anyway. And about 3 weeks ago, we had the baskets in the back, and this is what was in one of the baskets. And it's $7, and it's 2 envelopes, and it says tithe, and has a cross on it. And it gives me chills I'm honored to be able to even talk about this, but it just gives me chills because this obviously came from a child. and we keep our giving anonymous here, but that a child would have that kind of faith that's responding to probably their parents' teaching that cares enough to make that decision to say, I'm going to do this. And if that's the giving we get this year, that to me that's amazing. That we would have children being disciplined and being faithful and worshiping God by putting their tithe in an envelope and putting that in our basket. It almost reduces me to tears to think that we have those kind of people in our midst. Those are our future leaders, and we just hope that ChurchOne's cultivating that. So when you give here, just keep in mind you're investing into people. You're investing into people loving God and people wanting to serve God. And although we can't, have our children's ministry going on right now, I know that that's hard for us, but once we get back to that, we know that that's just another great investment that we have here, that we're able to do that for our body. So we're not able to do that without you, and we thank you for it. We thank you for your time and your energy and your resources. And if you consider your year-end giving, what we do here is a good investment. We do it on a very low budget and for what we provide. And I've done some searching and some investigating, and our budget is probably a third of most churches, what they do for the amount of people they serve. So we're trying to be good stewards. We're trying to do it well, and we want to invest in people. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for tuning in. Be careful if you're out there walking or riding your bike, but God bless.